to match Badibanga. Badibanga! What? That's like 60 yards out, and he drove it over Luka Gavrin.
Look at this, Rios. They look up.
Just a little glance. Okay. So many times we see players see that opportunity, and they just can't execute. That is impeccable execution. And the way that he hit it, it was with purpose. It wasn't just a chip. And then 3 minutes later, Kwesi Poku makes it 2. Look at this. Look at Petretta and Gomis, the defending here. Whoop! Borges slips inside on Gomis. See you later. Petretta left in Schwanier's wake, and the little back heel, cheeky back heel by Poku.
That's a Forge FC goal. Maybe not the past 2 weeks we haven't seen him, but this is how they score goals and beat teams every week in the CPL with that quality. Methodical, playing the ball wide, making those runs, underlaps, getting deep, crosses in the box. They just did that to TFC. I'm watching this game, and a lot of what they do week in and week out, they just did to Toronto FC.
And this was minutes after Lorenzo Insigne missed a wide-open net 6 minutes in. We're still wondering how he missed. And then from there, I mean, for the next, 40, 50, 60 minutes, it was Forge's game.
I think also with quality players coming into the side, like you look at Benny Badibanga, right? I looked at him when he was dribbling. I'm like, oh, play Schwanier, he's open on the right. No, play Poku, he's open on the left. To have those quality players, and again, this is Bobby Smirnionis and Forge FC, they have their staple guys, and they always just pick these gems. Para, Badibanga, guys you just don't want to play against, but they show up in those big moments. That goal, only one person on the pitch could do that today. Well, one person on the pitch for Forge, and that's Benny Badibanga.
There's supposed to be players on the field for Toronto FC that are supposed to be able to finish like that, but that hasn't been the case.
Yeah, and you have to also give credit to Forge because they're dealing with injuries, right? You're looking at Poku being converted into that 9, scoring the goals. There's no Terran Campbell, there's no Jordan Hamilton, and we also said there's no Daniel Power on that back line either, who's suspended because of yellow card accumulation. So it's not like this was, if you were to argue, full-strength Forge. This is also kind of a weakened Forge who was able to do what they did.
And another name, just Alaman Cisse just came back. Like, he was eligible to play today, played against this guy. If you ask any player in the CPL, someone who is a jack of all trades who can do it all, that's Alaman Cisse. So I know 6 weeks, it does favor Toronto FC, but they have some players that hopefully will be ready for that fight, and I think they could take it to them.
Well, John Herdman making some substitutions in that second half, putting in forward-thinking, attacking-minded players. It was very clear that he wanted that away goal. He knew how much that mattered. They do get it. We'll take a look at that goal, but perhaps a little bit of controversy that happened before. And should it have even counted?
Ben Hoskins missed it. Look, corner kick. It's a mad scramble. We'll watch this live, and then we'll slow it down. Obviously, the 2 players down on the field, that's who we're going to focus on. Was there a handball there? We're not quite sure. But Jordan will focus on this.
Look at this wrestling right here.
It was going down, and he literally drags. Maybe those lines were in the wake. If you can just spin it back just a little bit.
Go back a little bit.
He drags Oluwabi Bellewu down with him. Like, his arm is right around him. You see right here, and he pulls him down to the ground. That's exactly, and look, the referee can see it clearly. Ben Hoskins is looking directly at where that ball is going. It landed on Prince Owusu's foot, and Owusu, the player that committed the foul that wasn't given, ends up banging it into the back of the net somehow. If I am Bobby Smirniotis, I am absolutely livid. Like, look, I'm all about some grappling, tussling, but he grabbed them, and both players went down, and that's exactly where the ball went. It's an unbelievable miscall.
You can't horse collar, you can't grab, you can't drag someone down. You see Oluwabi Bellewu as well. He's fighting to stay up on his feet. And when someone grabs you by the collar, drags you down, that's an infraction. That should have been
the referee is looking like. Come on, we've been on this. The standard of refereeing has to be better in this country. There's no use of VAR. We do not want to go down that road, Andy. But that's one. I don't know what the referee's looking at if he misses that call. And it's a costly one. That's a big away goal for Toronto FC. Absolutely fortunate.
Yeah, it is fortunate for them, unfortunate for Forge. But Toronto FC really did turn up the heat in that second half. They, too, had some pretty incredible chances where it could have been a tie game.
Well, late. I'd argue that Forge had the better 5 or 6 chances before this.
Sure.
This is 2 minutes into stoppage time. Finally, they came with the pressure, and DeAndre Curry scored 4 goals against Saint Laurent a few weeks back, and he's going to be not sleeping tonight after putting one off the post. But it all came too late for Toronto FC. Like, there was a series of half chances. Insigne missed a couple, wasn't accurate enough, but it's really the DeAndre Kerr chances off the post that's the glaring one.
Yeah, naturally, Forge FC in this match, I don't think it was game plan, but you're just kind of riding it out that you're winning 2-0, right? But with that, Toronto FC absorbed and they were going forward. But Wheels, you said it. The team that should have...
This one right here. Oh, the goalkeeper gambled. He
like that would have been 2-2 at that point, right? And then that would have absolved their sins of the whole match. Because for me, Forge were the better side, but if they score that goal, Andy Petrillo, that's 2-2 going to the final leg.
That's late, as you mentioned, in the second half, because to start the second half, Forge was gunning for that third goal, fourth goal. Credit to the goalkeeper, Luka Gavrin, who was able to put that first half behind him. He was coming up with some massive saves, but my goodness, Forge did not take their foot off the gas.
I want to give Gavrin credit because people will say, well, you got caught out, you gave up the goal against Atlanta. Look, Gavrin's from Hamilton, Ontario. He's a great young Canadian goalkeeper who's had a couple rough moments. He kept Toronto FC in the game. He played for Hamilton, Croatia, caught the eye of Toronto FC staff, and he's run with it. Like, look, that save against Borges, diving down, just getting his foot on it, incredible. Look at how much space Chouanier had going off the post there, and Gavrin stepped up and made a couple other big saves.
Just taking liberties. Look, for me, he absolved his sins for the first goal that Benny Badibanga scored on him because he kept them in the game. There are saves that look at the save. There are saves here. This one for me, Kyle Becker on his left foot. But it's the Benny Badibanga save. I think this is the one coming up here. Yes, where he plays down the side. These are the saves, Andy Petrillo, that keep a team in the game. This is keeping Toronto FC in that tie. Because he cuts in on his favorite right foot. Oh, look at that save. That's outstanding. With the further arm, that's acrobatic. For me, a guy that made a big mistake in the beginning of the match, to come back and have that composure and keep his team in the match, you can't say enough about that.
Badibanga, really Badibanga that ball because Luka Gavrin was holding his hand after that. But he was everywhere on the field today, got into it with Insigne as well. He is our Gatorade performance of the match, and he's with our Oliver Platt.
Benny, pretty special night at Tim Hortons Field. How much did you enjoy that?
Yeah, it was a great effort from the team. And at the end, we go with the W, so enjoyable.
Walk us through that goal. It was a spectacular effort. What did you see as the play was unfolding?
As soon as I take my man, I always raise my head to see if I have a call, and I saw the goalkeeper was out of his box, so I tried it.
This attack seems to continue to grow and grow. What have you made of Kwesi Poku and the way he's played as a striker?
It's very impressive. He worked hard on training. After trainings, he works on video, and we see the result today.
What did you think of the atmosphere in here tonight with a bigger crowd than usual?
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to play in front of a good crowd, and we hope that we can see a lot of games like this in the future. Yeah.
How much are you looking forward now to going to BMO Field and playing that second leg?
It's a game. We have to go there and fight. So, like all the other games, ready to fight.
Thank you, Benny. Well done tonight.
Well, we'll see how these two teams look on August 27th. That's the next time they're going to play each other here. But I have a feeling Forge is going to remember that goal by Toronto FC, and perhaps it shouldn't have counted. And we'll see where TFC is at, just personnel-wise, because we know John Herdman wants to make some changes as we take a look at the full-time stats. 2-1, the final here. Forge defeating Toronto FC. This is the first of our doubleheader here tonight. We're working our way towards Pacific FC. They will be hosting Vancouver Whitecaps, another CPL MLS matchup. And then we're also going to talk Canada. They're still in action at Copa America. They did not advance to the final, but they are playing for third place. What did we make of that epic game against Argentina? Stay with us.
Toyota's electrified vehicles are for everyone. Every chauffeur, snack connoisseur, every scenery soaker, practical joker, every road tripper, toe dipper, every 9-to-5er, every long driver. Starting over 20 years ago with the Prius, we now have the largest lineup of electrified vehicles in Canada because this journey belongs to everyone.
Do we really have any choice at all?
Everyone has a choice,
And every choice has a consequence.
Which do you choose?
Life's full of tough choices, isn't it?
How do you choose?
From the edge of your seat or up on your feet, let them hear you cheer.
Well, last night Canada played in the semifinal at the Copa America against Argentina. Incredible for the Canadians to be in the semifinal. The last remaining CONCACAF team in Copa America of the 6 who were invited. 11-9 the shots, 3-2 on target. But again, Canada just couldn't find the back of the net. Argentina 2-0, the winners moving on there. What did you make, of that game? There was a lot of hype around it. There was a ton of excitement. And overall, just how did you feel about the Canadians, Jordan?
I'm proud. I don't think you could not be with this team that have a new coach, had a new philosophy, and really just left it all on the pitch. I mean, obviously there are parameters and areas that you want to see get better, one being scoring and finishing. But you're playing the best team in the world, and there was fight, there was heart in the side wheels. And for me, that's where you always build from. Of course, it could get better, but again, looking at this tournament in Copa America, I feel like you have to think it's a win.
I feel like over the last couple of weeks, that excitement that we felt in World Cup qualifying
came back,
and heading into the World Cup, it came back.
Yeah, I got it too.
I feel like that over more of the play on the field, that's what sticks out the most. You had those familiar feelings that went away for way too long. And being able to capture that moment, I think it's relatable for Canadians, and it got people excited about this team again, which is huge going into 2026. It served different purposes for different people. For Jesse Marsch, learning what his team and his players are all about. For the team, understanding what they're capable of and having the experiences in this tournament, that it's going to be a challenge to replicate between now and 2026, just based upon the fact that they don't have to qualify for this tournament. So it ticked all the boxes. They still have one game to go. Sounds like it'll be more of an experimental side, but you know what? A job well done and something to be proud of.
He did acknowledge that there will be a lot of lineup changes for that third place team because of the tired legs as well. But do you think that's also a bit of a learning lesson for Jesse Marsch with the type of high intensity style he wants his players to play, that maybe he does need to make more lineup changes?
Well, he might want to reward some players for the work that they've done behind the scenes. It's been a long, 6-7 weeks since he's taken over, with players coming in, and some of them haven't really seen the field at all. I would prefer for him to go with players that he thinks will be part of the program in 2026.
Yeah.
It's about getting, I understand that sentiment, want to give people game action, but you want your players that you're going to roll with on the field in games against top competition as much as possible. Colombia, Uruguay is going on right now. Either one of them is going to be a big test and a big challenge. So I prefer to see him play some of those key players. The one name that came up I would like to see is Luc de Fougerolles, because I think that he plays a position which is relatively thin. He has a good pedigree playing at Fulham, and he's a player I think that can grow into a role over the next 2 years.
I think for me, the importance of this game too is about the balance. Like, yes, you want to see new faces, but you see it all the time with managers. We even spoke to Vanni Sartini today, and just when you try to change too much at once, what that could be. It could be detrimental, right? It's finding those balances. Maybe that's playing a Luc de Fougerolles, but be playing with a Cornelius. Maybe meshing those two together. So you have someone who's stable winning the back line and someone who is just new to the environment. So finding those matchups for this week. But this is a big free game, right? This is a huge club. This is a huge country you're about to play, either Colombia or Uruguay. That is free. You have to take advantage of this moment.
I want to get Ali Ahmed on the field. Richie Laryea is coming back from injury. There's no point pushing that. I honestly, Jonathan David and Kyle Aaron, they might need breaks because they're going to be heading into big seasons. David, potentially a summer move. But I like to see those two play again because those two need to build that chemistry that they had before in a Jesse Marsch system.
Yes.
And with a new system and a new way of playing, that connection hasn't been as seamless. So there's still some areas of the field that, look, I still want to work on this right now in the present.
Well, Stefan Eustachio's post-game comments went viral where he talked about the player pool in Canada widening and said that he really wants the CPL to start pushing its teams in all levels, being professional and coming together. So, of course, Jesse Marsch was recently asked about that type of player development and what that means for Canada moving forward.
Should be playing as many young players as they possibly can. There should be rules for me, and we have to go through all this, but there should be rules about how many young players are on the pitch. And again, when I mean young players, I don't mean 22-year-olds. I mean 17, 18, 19-year-olds. There needs to be a way to put more responsibility on young players, to challenge them for what the highest standards of games are. I mean, this has been the biggest thing that I've tried to do with this player pool that I have, is more sprinting, more running, more initiating contact, more winning duels, more like understanding what the highest level is. And when you play Argentina, when you play France, and you can see the speed of play, the power at which the best players play at, that's where we need to go, because we actually have the athletes in this country. We do, but we need to now develop them in a way where they understand high level football. So, I'm going to the Forge match on Sunday night, and I'm going to start, I'm going to get a chance to live to see what games look like, and to see what the level is like, and to see what the playing style is, and then I'll be able to evaluate things, and then try to find ways to help push what I think the expectations of high level football are.
This is why I sit in the stands and eat popcorn. I don't run anymore. But what did you make of those comments? They're pretty telling on how he feels about the ecosystem in Canada.
I like the engagement. That was something that was in John Herdman's portfolio that he ended up passing on because, I don't know, he just was too busy with other stuff. So Jesse Marsch is going to get dug into this. There are under 21 rules in the Canadian Premier League that demand young players play. Should it allocate for more minutes for young players? I am absolutely fine with that. But those young players need to play against really good professionals, older players, to learn what it's like to be a professional. The one comment he made about running and high endurance sounds very Red Bull-y to me, which I'm okay with to a certain degree, because when I watch Canada play Argentina in countries like this, the bigger gap isn't the athleticism. It's the technical side. It's the touches on the ball. It's the cleanliness. It's the way to read the game. I just think that we need to have more technically proficient players. I hear what he's saying, but I don't fully agree with that. We need to build better players, better thinkers on the field.
I have so much to say, but that'll be on OST tomorrow. We have to go back to you.
Didn't mean to eat up all
No, it's okay.
That's a nice little tease, my friend, because you can tune into One Soccer today and you can hear everything that Jordan has to say about how he's feeling about the ecosystem of the development here in Canada. Hey, the women are going to be back in action. They actually get their Olympic games started, the defense of their gold medal on July 25th. Yes, they do. But first, they're going to play a friendly. That'll be Saturday, 3 p.m. ET, right here on One Soccer against Australia as they get set to play in Paris. Badibanga with the goal, just cheeky over the head of Gavrin. And then how about that back heel by Kwasi Poku to make it 2-0. And then Prince Owusu squeaking that one in for TFC. 2-1 was the final here tonight.
To play. It's something that's in us from the very beginning, and something we take with us on every step of the journey. When we have no words, it gives us a way to speak. When we are still finding our way in the world,
it gives us somewhere to belong. And no matter who we are or where we come from, it gives us the right to dream.
Christine Sinclair, as she scores at her 5th World Cup. Alfonso Davies!
It's time to celebrate the game we love. It's time to play.
TFC suffering their first loss at the hands of a CPL side. 2-1 the final here tonight. It is leg one of the semi-final TELUS Canadian Championship. Let's hear from TFC head coach John Herdman.
Yeah, I think the away goal was super important for us. I was really happy with the second half. I was happy with how we started the game. Second half was probably how you'd expect TFC to play in that sort of match, but at the same time, you know, Forge are on a 2-goal lead, so you know they're going to adapt. I thought, yeah, we started the game well. I thought the first half we had a few good opportunities there. I think we scored a goal that was onside for sure. We were surprised at that one, but yeah, getting that goal back was important for us. I think going into the next match we needed that away goal.
Sorry. The mics just need to be together.
So we understand the importance of that away goal, but Jordan, that does not look like a happy coach.
I don't even know what words or adjectives to really describe him. I mean, the lifeline was the one goal, but you could see on his face and just his demeanor, like, he looks pretty defeated to me, Wheels.
He has tried, and any fan that's been at BMO Field in Toronto has seen this. He rallies the group up after every game. And there's I don't know what exactly he said in that huddle, but it's a lecture. It's out in front of everyone. It is very difficult to do that over the course of a marathon of a season and expect results. This is 7 straight losses. They haven't won a game in 10, Andy. And that old Toronto FC from last year that were record setters for all the wrong reasons, this team is looking a lot like that. Mm-hmm. Big name players not putting forward the effort. Really, there not being a plan B when plan A doesn't work. It's really concerning right now. The players look mentally and physically completely drained. And let's be clear here. Herdman's brought in a lot of new players. The staff right now that is employed at Toronto FC is bigger than I can ever remember covering this team since day number 1. Resources have been spent to make the conditions that John Herdman wants. He's now calling on the front office to make changes. He knew taking this job that this was going to be a process and getting players out because of the contracts that were signed before. They're just going into a really dark place right now where solutions seem few and problems seem many. Responsibility gets passed across the board, but what he's delivering, the message he is delivering to his players right now, simply isn't resonating. That's quite clear.
I think when you watch a football match at the end, for me, I always ask, like, what was that team's game plan? How did it change? What happened? After 90 minutes, maybe I'm going to watch it back and feel different. I don't know TFC's. I know Forge's game plan.
At the half, 2 attacking players for 2 defenders.
You want to go get a goal. What was the game plan at the start of the match? The first whistle when it was blown, what was the game plan? I still can't say that. And for me, a Toronto FC with that budget, with the players that are on that squad, yes, we can dissect. They still should be better than that. They still should be a full unit going forward. And it wasn't like that tonight.
I'll even go a step further. What bothers me about this is they played, the MLS team in this game, played the bare minimum of 3 Canadian players to start this game.
2 on the bench.
You know, and all the talk that we've had in recent days, and I reported on this, that the Canadian Soccer Association decided to move the international transfer window, which would have coincided with the CPL calendar, to coincide with the MLS calendar. Well, what are we doing here? We know that MLS is an American league. We care about our Canadian club teams, and they do a lot for Canadian players and Canadian infrastructure. Let's not pretend that they don't. But this whole notion that they can just play in the Canadian Championship, like, why isn't there more of an opportunity for Canadian players in a team that lost to a CPL side tonight? Again, the last 3 times a CPL side has played an MLS side, 3 CPL wins. I think some soul searching needs to go on at these Canadian MLS clubs. Toronto FC first and foremost.
Well, we have another one coming on up. That is our second of our double header, Pacific FC, Vancouver Whitecaps. We'll see if Pacific can pull off another upset. Of course, the Vancouver Whitecaps coming in completely different than the way TFC entering this game. Vancouver feeling good about their MLS season, feeling good about their chances for a three-peat, but can Pacific crash the party? Stick around on One Soccer.
To play. It's something that's in us from the very beginning, and something we take with us on every step of the journey. When we have no words, it gives us a way to speak. When we are still finding our way in the world, it gives us somewhere to belong. And no matter who we are or where we come from, it gives us the right to dream.